Chosen ones, these things are blocking your progress, and if you don't recognize them now, you will keep working hard without seeing results. Many of you are putting in effort. You're trying, you're praying, you're pushing, but something is not moving. It feels like you're stuck, like no matter what you do, you're not getting to the next level. And the truth is, it's not always about doing more. Sometimes it's about removing what is slowing you down. Now listen carefully. Don't skip this, because what I'm about to reveal might be the reason things haven't been working for you. Stay till the end, because one of these could be the thing holding your entire life back. The first thing blocking your progress is distraction. Not the obvious kind you can easily spot, but the subtle distractions that slowly consume your time without you realizing it. The habits that feel small but add up into something big, like picking up your phone for a few minutes and losing hours, telling yourself you'll start later, constantly pushing important tasks aside for comfort. And before you know it, the day is gone and nothing meaningful has been done. And when that happens repeatedly, it creates a cycle where you feel busy but you are not actually productive. And that illusion of activity is dangerous because it makes you believe you are progressing when you are not. And progress requires focus, and focus requires discipline, and discipline requires sacrifice, which means you have to give up things that feel good in the moment for things that matter in the long run. Because if your attention is scattered, your results will be scattered too. The second thing blocking your progress is fear. And this is one of the most powerful forces holding people back because it doesn't always show up as something obvious. Sometimes it hides behind excuses. Sometimes it looks like procrastination. Sometimes it feels like overthinking. But at its core, it is fear. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of stepping into something unfamiliar. And because of that fear, you hesitate, you delay. You wait for the perfect time, but the perfect time never comes. And every time you choose to wait instead of act, you stay exactly where you are. And over time, that waiting becomes your habit, and that habit becomes your limitation. But the truth is, growth only happens when you move despite fear, not when you wait for it to disappear. The third thing blocking your progress is inconsistency. And this is where many people struggle because they rely too much on motivation. They feel inspired for a few days, they start strong, they make plans, they take action. But as soon as that motivation fades, they stop, they slow down, they lose focus, and then they try to start again later. And that cycle repeats over and over again. And the problem is not that you are not capable. The problem is that you are not consistent. Because success is not built on occasional effort. It is built on repeated actions over time. Small steps taken daily will always lead to bigger results than big efforts made once in a while. And if you can master consistency, you can change your life. Chosen ones, another major thing blocking your progress is the people around you. Because whether you realize it or not, your environment has a strong influence on your mindset, your habits, and your decisions. And if you are surrounded by people who lack ambition, who complain constantly, who don't believe in growth, who don't support your vision, it becomes harder for you to move forward. Not because you are weak, but because their energy affects you. Their mindset becomes your mindset, and their limitations become your limitations. And that is why you have to be careful about who you keep close to you. Because not everyone is meant to go with you to the next level. And sometimes growth requires distance, not out of hate, but out of necessity. Another thing blocking your progress is your mindset. Because the way you think about yourself shapes everything you do. If you believe you are not good enough, you will hesitate to take opportunities. If you believe you are not ready, you will delay action. If you believe you will fail, you will avoid trying. And these thoughts may seem small, but they have a powerful impact on your behavior, because your actions follow your beliefs. And if your beliefs are limiting, your results will be limited too. And that is why you have to change the way you think. You have to start seeing yourself differently, not as someone who is stuck, but as someone who is capable of growth. Because the moment your mindset shifts, your actions will begin to change. Chosen ones, procrastination is another silent blocker, and it is one of the most dangerous because it feels harmless. You tell yourself you will do it later. You convince yourself you still have time. You delay important tasks for comfort, but that delay adds up, and over time, it becomes a habit, and that habit becomes your lifestyle. And before you realize it, months have passed, years have passed, and you are still in the same place, not because you didn't have the ability to change, but because you kept postponing action. And the truth is, action creates momentum, and momentum creates progress. But if you never start, you never build that momentum. Another thing you need to be aware of is comparison, because constantly looking at others and measuring your progress against theirs will drain your confidence and slow you down. You see someone else succeeding, you see someone ahead of you, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel discouraged, you feel behind, and that feeling affects your energy. It affects your motivation, and it affects your actions. But what you have to understand is that everyone has a different journey, different timing, different struggles, and comparing your beginning to someone else's middle will always make you feel like you are not doing enough, and that mindset will keep you stuck. So instead of focusing on others, focus on your own growth, your own progress, your own path. Chosen ones, lack of discipline is another major reason why people struggle to move forward. Because discipline is what keeps you going when motivation is gone. It is what pushes you to take action even when you don't feel like it. It is what helps you stay consistent even when things are hard. And without discipline, your goals remain ideas, your plans remain intentions, and your progress remains limited. Because discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And if that bridge is weak, you will never get to the other side. Another thing blocking your progress is holding onto the past, holding onto mistakes, holding onto regrets, holding onto failures, constantly thinking about what went wrong instead of focusing on what you can do now. And that mindset keeps you stuck, because you cannot move forward if you are always looking backward. The past is meant to teach you, not trap you. And if you keep carrying it with you, it will weigh you down and slow your progress. Chosen ones, comfort is another hidden blocker. Because when things feel okay, you stop pushing yourself, you stop challenging yourself, you settle into routines that feel safe, but do not help you grow. And over time, that comfort becomes your limitation. Because growth requires discomfort. It requires stepping outside what feels easy. It requires doing things that stretch you. And if you avoid discomfort, you avoid growth. Another thing you need to pay attention to is lack of clarity. Because if you don't know what you want, you will not know what to work toward. And if you don't know where you are going, you will end up going nowhere. And that is why you need to define your goals. Be clear about your direction. Understand what you are working toward, because clarity creates focus, and focus leads to progress. Chosen ones' excuses are also holding many of you back. Blaming your situation, blaming your environment, blaming other people. And while challenges are real, staying in a mindset of excuses will keep you stuck. Because as long as you focus on what you cannot control, you ignore what you can change, and that takes away your power. But the moment you take responsibility, everything begins to shift, because now you are in control of your actions, your decisions, and your direction. Another thing blocking your progress is inconsistency in your mindset. One day you are motivated, The next day you are discouraged. One day you believe in yourself. The next day you doubt everything. And that instability affects your actions, because your results depend on what you do consistently, not on how you feel occasionally. And if your mindset is constantly changing, your progress will be inconsistent too. Chosen ones, your progress is also blocked when you wait for opportunities instead of creating them. Waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to help you, waiting for things to fall into place. But success does not come from waiting. It comes from action. It comes from creating opportunities, from taking initiative, from doing what needs to be done even when conditions are not perfect. And finally, one of the biggest things blocking your progress is ignoring what you already know, because deep down, you know what you need to do. You know the habits you need to change. You know the steps you need to take, but you keep avoiding them. And that avoidance is what is keeping you stuck. Because knowledge without action changes nothing. And until you act on what you know, your situation will remain the same. Chosen ones, if you remove these things, distractions, fear, inconsistency, negative influences, limiting beliefs, procrastination, comparison, lack of discipline, holding onto the past, comfort, lack of clarity, excuses, and stable mindset, waiting instead of acting, your life will begin to change, not overnight, but gradually, because